Hi friends, welcome back. In today's video, I'm going to take some galvanized trays and a couple of old wall sconces that I picked up at an antique store. These trays came from Hobby Lobby, and right now their spring shop is 40% off, so these were cheaper than what they're marked here. And this storage box I had had for a while, but it's time for a makeover. These wall sconces are pretty. I'm going to give them a couple of coats of chiffon cream Rust-Oleum chalk paint. So this will be a fairly quick and easy makeover, but the trays are going to be a little bit more involved. I think you're going to like the new IOD stamps that I used on them, and I can't wait to show you those. Most things I make are to resell in the spaces I rent, but I'm going to keep this pair of sconces to put in my living room. If you're using chalk paint on galvanized items, you're probably not going to need a primer or a sealer underneath it. Typically, most chalk paint will adhere to galvanized items pretty easily or pretty thoroughly, and a couple of coats coverage is what you'll need. For the storage box, I'll be using IOD molds to put decorations and a piece of trim on the front of the box. I'm using DOS paper clay, and I got that on Amazon, as well as the glue that I'm using here. The mold I'm using here for the piece of trim is just one that I found on Amazon, and I'm only using the bottom portion of it. The tools I'm using to trim the clay after I remove them from the mold is a kit that I found, I believe, on Etsy or Amazon, but I'll see if I can link that in the description below the video. If you put a little cornstarch in the mold, it will really help the clay to come out of that mold when you turn it over. So that's what I'm doing here. You'll want to glue this to the piece while the clay is still wet. It usually takes about 24 hours for this paper clay to completely dry, but you can paint it while it's still wet, and putting it on the item that you're working on while it's still wet or moist helps it conform to the shape of that item. And hey, here's a quick tip from a nurse. This is how we take our gloves off without soiling our hands. You turn the glove inside out, take the first one off inside the second one, and then pull that one off inside out. Okay, if you can relate to this, if you do much crafting at all, do you ever get in the middle of a project or sometimes to the end, like I did in this one, and you realize you either don't like it or you overcomplicated it? I'll make a few adjustments to this one later. I'll just finish up the front side of these galvanized plates and trays and then show you a couple of the stamps I'll be using. The stamps I'm using today on these pieces are the newest Iron Orchid Design stamps, or IOD stamps, and they're just so cute. I'm going to list the name of this set in the description below, and you'll need to look on the Iron Orchids Design website to see where your local dealer is or where you might be able to order online. One thing I've started doing is putting a backer on the back of these stamps to give them a little bit more stability and to give me something to hang on to when I'm applying these stamps. The one I'm using here is from a set of stamps that I ordered from Amazon. It's Prima Redesign, but a lot of their stamping sets come with this backing of it's kind of an acrylic grid sheet. And I've cut that up into sections, and you can also buy this separately. I think even Iron Orchid Design sells these, and there's other options on Amazon, but it keeps you from getting ink on your fingers, which is hard to get off your fingers, but it also tends to smudge the piece that you're working on. So I'm finding that cutting these strips and putting the stamp onto that really helps keep my hands clean and the piece clean. And then I'm wiping each of the stamps off with a wet towel after I'm finished. That just keeps the stamps a little more clean and keeps the ink from building up or discoloring the stamps. Sometimes I find that I don't like the whole stamp. Maybe the design is cute, but the words are something that I don't think I would use. And so I just kind of trim those away from the piece. It's okay to separate these pieces and use the parts that you like. And I don't always follow the rules with these. Some of the stamp manufacturers suggest that you take sandpaper and rough up the stamp a little bit before you use them the first time, but I don't like to do that. They're new, they're pretty, and I find that the ink sticks just as well, and the stamps are really crisp and clear. And I'm sorry I don't have my camera set up a little closer to this while I'm working on it. That's still a challenge for me. I'll show you the finished results here shortly. And here you'll see how helpful some of these little silicone or plastic acrylic backings are. Some of these are thicker. I got these on Amazon. It really helps you apply them and hold on to them better than just trying to hold the stamp. Here's a storage box with the changes I made. I took off some of the competing designs that I had stamped on there, and I just simplified it a little bit and kind of connected the theme a little more. The lighting is not so good here for these, but I'm going to stage these a little bit better, and I'll show you all of these finished items a little bit later in the video. You can see here how nice these stamps turned out. There's a nice clean, crisp look, and I used a brown ink with this chiffon cream paint, so I think it's a really nice color combination. The antique sconces turned out nice as well. I think the use of the brown ink gives it a more of a country French look. I do like the black ink on white things, but that seems to fit better with a farmhouse style. And I'm really liking the use of this brown ink on the stamps. And this cow just has such a sweet look. I just really like these new IOD stamps. I'd like for you to click on the thumbs up button below. This will help trigger the algorithm for YouTube to send this video out to a lot more people. Thank you so much for watching today, and I'll see you in the next video.